Above and below this reality. Jackson Winslow Pearce. Introduction. Christ Consciousness, a lost knowledge. Within the text of this book, we will journey together in rediscovering the mystery of how the superior knowledge we knew long ago was lost and how it is connected to the cosmos, which contains the higher dimensions of reality. The cosmos is where all knowledge of the higher realm originates and is also the driving force that connects to all minds. The ability to exist in a reality of freedom is accomplished by expanding the free will to many higher dimensions of reality other than the one practiced in this current existence that is created by man. This unseen knowledge becomes visible in our current reality by the means of knowing the superior powers of Christ's consciousness through the science of the mind, which gives us the ability to understand the numerous factors involved that have brought us to where we are today as a society. Encrypted in the unknown DNA is the lost knowledge of the higher realms. Only the acknowledgement and initial implementation of free will can activate this experience of total understanding and renewed connection between yourself and your true source. This is the same DNA scientists refer to as junk. The hidden secret to seeking our own purpose in this powerful consciousness and obtaining the magic of the mind and the purpose of the heart is to expand with complete love. The encrypted code within our junk DNA will become illuminated, and the energy of each human will soar to the highest dimensions of reality of our original origins. It is evident that thoughts create energy and energy becomes stronger and stronger and can alter the cells both inside and out of the body. The cells respond to the signal of command sent out from the mind, and all minds to fulfill and materialize into either action or form. All people need to comprehend what we are capable of creating by a simple thought. The truth is the soul's mind harbors hidden knowledge from our many prior lives. This is because we harbor pure energy within our human vessel and energy cannot be destroyed. It has existed for an eternity and is responsible for all we see around us. What separates us from material creation itself is the fact that it's the mind that creates and develops material creations, and unlike the mind, the material creations do not have the ability to experience love as a soul of consciousness can. All we perceive to be real is the current system of belief that has been designed solely by men, that the reality of material creation is superior to the souls of all humans. This is the illusion of our minds and how we have been programmed to think and to exist as helpless slaves in the most powerful reality, which is the consciousness of life created by God. The heart and mind was intended to be used as the engineer of all our desires in the reality of creation of love and total bliss. God did not create the purpose of the two to become layered with the reality of the darkness that resulted from a controlled environment, the result of a network of humans around our planet that continued what was created millennia ago, a system of control that has survived and spread to the majority of society, creating a reality of deceit to suit their own selfish desires. It must be made perfectly clear and be understood that no human creates or owns the rights to any soul that is governed by the cosmos and the laws of the universe or its inhabitants. Our created source of energy, which is God, is the highest intelligence of energy, consisting of gold and white flickering sequences of light that are pure energy. All humans are created with the very same energy as God, as all living things share this design and creation. God does not see hair, eye, or even skin color. Within all living things is a vibration of energy that exists as one. Humans are harboring this energy within their souls, which reside in their bodies. All humans can create energy from just a thought. We are masters from God, and His wisdom is of a unique design that exists in every soul that harbors the encrypted code that is made of both pure energy and knowledge. This superior knowledge is connected to a superior realm of reality far greater than the realm we have allowed ourselves to be trained to exist in while we are in the current and most powerful consciousness here on planet Earth. It sounds incredible that a mind would have the capability to create anything by just a thought. However, once the correct information has been provided and practiced as to how the mind functions and how alchemy is connected to it all, it is absolutely not difficult to learn or understand. A person will have to be willing to conceive of a new way of existing and thinking to experience and perceive the world in the way it was always meant to be. If the knowledge had never been lost or hidden, literacy would not be required because the mind is a free agent that receives its signals from the soul. The soul is connected to the cosmos of our universe and harbors the most incredible power and the most superior knowledge one could ever imagine. It is the free will that is responsible for the thinking and creating of all things. Many have been taught that man's version of education is the only way to survive in this world. In a sense, to survive in the man-created reality, education is the only way. Sad to say, education, both now and in the past, has only served to teach us how to function in a system that promotes ignorance and chaos and is designed to sustain itself through manipulation and fear. The current reality is not real and never will be so. To exist and thrive in this reality, it has been a requirement to learn economics, trade, and the realities of war. The concepts of lack and fear have been the reality in this dense, money-based existence. Wealth and material things have been placed in a hierarchy above true reality the whole time. In this book I have gone above and beyond to ensure that all people can read and follow this formula that has been within us the entire time. It has simply been buried deeply within our souls as the encrypted code of our powers that is achievable through both the free will and the subconscious mind. It will be each person's responsibility to validate the facts that have been given and to secure the truth for his or her own good. I have come to realize and discover how much our state of mind and the current reality of our environment, and the key they hold to becoming what we desire, draw to us what is needed to succeed. Chapter 1: Expanding the Mind. When the knowledge of what has been discovered within ourselves is used to improve the environment of not only our own lives but also the lives of those around us, we can begin to understand and live as the powerful spiritual beings we are. If the mind is not expanding, nothing within our grasp can grow or change. The system of this planet will continue whether we understand it or not. Expanding our minds is to expand all matter around us. I feel strongly that when all elements of our purpose and capabilities are mastered, we will no longer need to return to this dark, dense system of reality created by man in which we currently exist, but did not always, as the knowledge was purposely buried and lost during the last changing of the earth so very long ago. There are 4 cycles earth experiences, which are iron, bronze, silver and golden ages. The soul's purpose will be achieved by all humans as we near the end of the current cycle of reality, the cycle of iron and darkness, and move forward into the Bronze Age of enlightenment and love. These cycles play a huge role in our ability to experience the powers of the soul and mind. As the system of this planet nears the next cycle, our minds begin to open and revisit what was once before in a past time. The key to achieving ascension to the highest realm is to experience all the good we can imagine in this current reality, but we must master the science through our minds, as it is the mind that brings all things together, whether good or bad. Our emotions and powerful vibrations send signals to our invisible energy. That energy, in turn, sends to the ether the desired thought you have manifested. The ether then delivers a series of exact events, a kind of symblanity or serendipity effect, determined by the type of energy and what it is manifesting, through your intention and vibration, bringing life to those desires. For those of you wondering what symblanity means, it is the opposite effect of a happy accident, which is serendipitous in nature. Think about all the information your mind takes in on a daily basis. How much of that information is playing a role in your reactions to life in general? Most of the realities we have experienced throughout the ages have been designed to keep you from the truth and to further instill into the mind the concepts of limitation and lack. This is contrary to what is real and required to exist in a reality of light. Too many times we are blindsided by false and misleading information in our pursuit of purpose. Wealth is not the only agenda we are destined to seek. Spiritual acknowledgement plays a key role in progressing into the proper steps to complete all that must be mastered and owned by the present reality. These steps include 1. The science of whom and what we are, co-creators of the higher realm of God, and 2. The science of creation and how the mind sends out the signal to not only what we are thinking but also what we are feeling from the heart. What completes us from the depths of who we are is pure energy that will become pure love, capable of whatever we desire. From the most powerful piece of equipment God engineered and created, the mind of our brain that brings forth all we could ever imagine by the powerful vibration of the heart. The heart can manifest as the most powerful source of vibration, far greater than the mind. The emotions created by the heart produce the highest vibration when manifesting our desires in the creation factor. This is also the extension of the love of God in all His created universes. We finally will reach the highest realm possible in our existence, love and gratitude. The experience of material things will not hold a candle to the powerful reality of love and gratitude. Love and gratitude are the only experiences that allow all souls to graduate to the knowledge of Christ in the higher realm of our purpose and existence. This has always been the real truth and agenda, the wealth and the ability to draw things to us by natural laws, not by means of man's system of reality, which exists by creating debt, lying, stealing, and cheating our way to what we have been taught to believe is the top. Wow, what a huge misconception we have been given by the current design system of man. The only way to earn the honor of the higher realm is to own the knowledge we have had the entire time, and it is called free will. Just what is free will? Two words that are used by many but understood by few. To be completely free from all types of enslavement of the current created environment is the true meaning of free will. Instead, we use physical force to get the job done. When we achieve anything in this fashion, we imagine we have won. We are sadly mistaken. If we allow ourselves to be controlled or told what to do, and we are not seeking the understanding of this knowledge, then we have all but given the rights to our souls away to the ones who depend on weakness to exist and sustain what we see and experience daily. We must understand that we are racing against time that is on a course of destruction, and it cannot be stopped, but we can become enlightened in our minds and free our souls to earn the right to remain in a realm we originated from in the beginning, the source of our created energy, which is God. When you learn the science of astral travel, you will realize you are already doing it when you think you are sleeping. It is not dreaming, as your soul is experiencing it. This could be why we have déjà vu. When this happens, it simply means you are ahead of what is coming. Only in this reality do we count time. As in the higher realm, there is no timekeeping. Understand that déjà vu is nothing more than something that has been experienced before it has actually happened in this current reality. And it should act as a clue to inform you that your subconscious mind and soul can see the future before it actually happens. Once the experience has arrived, the soul recognizes this and makes sure the ego and personality feels it, though they have no way to understand what it means. The soul is brilliant and will guide the vessel with superior knowledge as the soul is connected to the higher realm and the invisible energy. The higher realm plays a role in two major factors to travel and seek the same knowledge, and this is the one action the government cannot prevent. It cannot check your soul to find out where it has been. When people around the world start to realize this, they will know they no longer have constraints on where they can go. If a person from another country astral planed to anywhere he or she chose, the government could not do anything to deny this energy its right to travel and learn. I hope people would choose to go where the energy can be taught the truth and the soul can record all things. No matter where the spirit goes in astral travel, the truth and knowledge will be close within. Always remember that knowledge is absolute power. I can't emphasize enough the importance of looking deeply and carefully at all that is and realizing that what we see in this reality is not real and has no connection to the higher realm. Of course it seems real, as we see it through our eyes, and our hearts weep with sadness at the suffering. What blows me away is that no one ever asks one very important question: why? Why are things this way, and who is doing this? To see what has been repeated over and over again and not rise above is the realization of ignorance and continued perpetuation of what is dark in itself. Break the gray string of the past that has bound you to this present reality, and change the paradigm of what you think you are seeing. Correct it and replace it with the knowledge and science of what is real so you can finally reach your destiny, knowledge, and source purpose, love and gratitude. Chapter 2 My reason to exist. My purpose in this current life has been to seek the truth and to reconnect to what is real, which is the higher realm of existence. I gave my word in a previous life that I would undertake this quest. To my surprise, I've had to return to this consciousness numerous times before I could learn all of what is required. I am certain I have done just that this time around, and correctly. I was to seek the truth and deliver the facts to every human walking on the face of this earth. I was to keep my mind open while the truth of who we are would come in the form of knowledge into every cell in my body, converted from a man-created cell base of knowledge and reality to the highest superior knowledge of God and all universes, Christ's consciousness. My ability to reconnect to science through the encrypted knowledge of the soul and energy of the universe has brought me to a place of understanding I never could have imagined. I have learned there is no separation between humans and other organisms of life and that all things are connected in some way and exist as a whole. I am proud of my determination to reconnect to the past and produce, in the present, pure evidence of my discoveries, which has been right in front of us the entire time. Prepare yourselves, for what you are about to experience is pure knowledge that will make total sense and resonate with your soul. Like me, you will find yourself looking off into space as your mind wraps around the facts that show evidence given by every material thing around us. The way to broaden your mind's ability is to use it to manifest what is most important and to identify that humans usually react to the actions of others, whether implied or given as a reality. To ensure the program that has been created continues to thrive, I will explain more about the concept of a program that controls the mind later. The mind must be opened completely to advance in the ability to produce a natural, desired effect from just a thought. Chapter 3: The Superior Knowledge of This Universe. How do our minds interact with the very universe that is responsible for our ability to sustain life in all its vastness? The science behind the complex mind harbors so many amazing gifts of superior knowledge within us. These gifts are just waiting to be rediscovered. The vast numbers of receptors located throughout the vessel, or body, have been reacting to the wrong system of information that has been taken into your mind and brain, creating the wrong programmed cells that make up both our current environment and reality, creating a void in our heart. Both the mind and body are ready to be fired up and used in a productive way for the benefit of all species of energy by means of knowledge that leads to love. This creates new cells by changing the paradigm from fear to love forever through the energy vibrations of our being. This is the conductor to the energy of our purpose. We have the ability to harness the energy in and around us. Once the knowledge has been learned and utilized in a way that will enlighten the heart, we can begin the journey home to our natural macrobiotic state of mind. We will begin to understand the vibration of this planet and how energy can be neither created nor destroyed. No matter how many times we experience what we call death, death is not real. I am sure we are left with the concept that because we can see our loved ones, it means they no longer exist. This concept could not be further from the truth. I know I ascended to the higher realm 13 years ago after a near-death experience. Death is not what we are supposed to practice in any reality, especially that of consciousness, or believe to be real. Yes, we do ascend to the higher realm, but only after we have been processed through the buffer that exists between this reality and the higher realm. Pure knowledge of what is real and true must be achieved and realized from within while we are in the current powerful consciousness of existence, so we may graduate to a higher level of understanding before we return to the higher dimensions. The true beginning of our existence, which is unknown at the moment, will soon be revealed. Mankind is much older than we have been taught. From my experience while in another dimension of reality, I have recovered the exact amount of time of my most recent stay in the superior realm, which was 3 days total during my experience of what we have been taught as death. As I stated above, if the required knowledge is not mastered in this powerful reality of consciousness, then because of our own foolish ignorance, we are sent back to this dense system of reality that is totally man-created. We ascend every time with ignorance and return to this consciousness infused with the truth of superior knowledge. However, we eventually fall into the same trap of enslavement of the soul and mind due to the environmental factors we are given in this reality, which prevent us from living a balanced existence. We are not able to remember or relearn any of this knowledge on our own because of the simple fact that we are not in balance with nature. Divine intervention throughout the ages has kept this message of truth alive. That truth is, to take complete control of our destiny and to seek knowledge and be reunited with the truth of our origins. We are godlike. We surely are created in His likeness, capable of learning all that is required to live and exist in a reality of bliss and love and gratitude. When we rediscover the truth, we can see how simple it is and always has been. It seems so easy to take in the knowledge when we are in the higher realm, but because of how this system of reality has been designed, it is difficult for us to grasp the knowledge from infancy. By the time a child is old enough to speak, this knowledge has been slowly buried deep in the subconscious mind. The cells of the child become influenced by his or her surroundings of both the reality and the environment of his or her extended family and society. The knowledge could resurface, but in many cases, Souls and their personalities do not succeed in facing the reality and seeking the truth, much less the birth knowledge of superior law. It is sad that this is even permitted. I myself have returned to this reality way too many times. However, this time in this current most powerful consciousness, I had only one reality to rediscover, and there was only one that I thought was not important. That one very important thing I needed to master was the science of how wealth is achieved and created. This is the concept I blamed wholeheartedly for the creation of our enslavement and the current condition of the soul that we have been subjected to exist in. It is not the wealth that is at fault. It is our minds not seeing the importance to think and to understand how all things come together from a scientific perspective. All things are connected, and there is no separation between us and what is around us or what we create. Knowing this does not require a formal college education. In fact, college serves only one purpose. It serves to continue the system of reality created solely by man and all concepts and programs hatched from the network of this group that is responsible for this current reality, whether said or implied. The system created has served the purpose to ensure this reality survives, and it continues to be our reality in which we practice and exist in. There is no knowledge that is superior to the higher realm of God. Man's law does not hold a candle to the highest knowledge that is connected to our free will and the natural energy of our universe. Only superior knowledge creates superior wealth, and as each person masters this concept through his or her free will, it is where the creation of all things begins. How did I make this very important discovery that came to me through what I believed at the time to be a dream? We have all been led to believe that when we sleep and experience surreal events, our minds are dreaming in an unreal, unconscious state, and the only reality is the one we can see, touch, or experience in our waking hours. This is another attempt to present an untrue tale to let us to believe we are powerless, weak, and incapable of thinking and making our own decisions. As my energy became alchemy and could escape this reality and the vessel that housed it, I realized I had been traveling to the higher realm. I am confident in knowing that Christ was present in my mind as I astral visited him in the higher realm numerous times while in this current consciousness. This was crucial in my research. This alone explained how I had so much knowledge though I had yet to pick up a book. For the longest time, I felt like a freak, not understanding all the things I had witnessed, things like airplanes falling from the skies, armed men breaking down residence doors, and two spaceships that were coasting parallel to each other in space. Many times I would go to sleep early to get a good night's rest, yet the next morning I felt as though I had run a marathon. I never understood why my vessel felt so worn down. My soul's energy was leaving my body and going to so many places, and I had no idea until I realized Christ wasn't the only spiritual being to talk to me in depth about astral projection or out-of-body experiences. I remember on 2 separate occasions being woken by my now ex-boyfriend Joseph as I was having an out-of-body experience. I recall my body feeling the sensation of my essence, my energy and soul, returning. Wow, what an amazing experience it was to be awake as my energy returned to its vessel. As I descended back to my body by means of my lifeline, a silvery transpersonal antenna that keeps my spirit attached to my vessel and stays connected to me while I soar to wherever I want to go. I remember not wanting to return because it was so much fun and felt so natural. In this state of consciousness, you are not limited to where you can go or what you can do. Our energy has the ability to travel through walls, windows, doors, fire, water, and even boulders. I found myself defying the laws of physics with every natural rule broken once I realized I had been doing this for the eternity of my existence and that I was an offspring of my very own creator, God. I was visiting the higher realm, gathering the truth of our origins. I can recall Christ sitting in a huge stone chair and all the knowledge I have come to know from my astral travels. I saw animals unlike the animals in this reality. I remember an animal that looked like a deer, but it had wool on its underside and the fur of the upper torso of the deer on its back. This is exactly what the Egyptians were known for, alchemy and the ability to travel through matter. It makes perfect sense now. Our energy is not limited in any way. Once I realized where and how I acquired my knowledge, I paid close attention. This is a very important part of our knowledge and our path of consciousness. Being reunited with the natural source of knowledge and energy of our brilliance is real freedom. It was because of this that I was able to see, in this present consciousness, the required knowledge that will save our souls in this current reality. The only way to ascend to the higher realm is to use the mind and learn the knowledge that must be mastered in this realm of consciousness, relinquishing the part of illusion that we call reality, which we have allowed to enslave our souls. This knowledge is necessary before we can be free from the current reality that has only rendered want, fear, and ignorance. Many have been conditioned to believe, and act upon the belief, that hard labor renders wealth. In some cases it absolutely does, but the mind is always far more capable to create wealth at a much faster rate than hard labor can. Many have worked their vessels to the bones to achieve masses of wealth toward the end of their lives by practicing the system man has created. In many cases it is almost always for the wrong reason. To exist and operate by a system that is based on deceit, to control others by a design that requires intelligent humans to pay to live on a planet that cannot and will not be owned by anyone. That is another illusion of man. We can be educated through college and perform certain duties to achieve riches to exist in this reality and yet fail to learn the true purpose of that existence, which is to seek the knowledge that is superior to what man has created. The result of the soul cheating itself of the experience and reality of true purpose is that it will not recognize the freedom to expand the mind to all dimensions above this current dimension of reality sustained by man. To know this higher realm of knowledge does not elite man's knowledge, rather, it contrasts what is real with what is implied and created by man, not God. The law of man, in the past and the present, was created out of the darkness, proving the ignorance that man is capable of practicing. The system designed by man was the attempt to erase the laws of our Creator by creating a reality of limited abilities of our energy, souls, and vessels. The laws of man were to coincide with the laws of the entire universe. After all, we are intruders on this planet and are entitled to inalienable rights that cannot be governed by man but only by the Creator himself, which is God. I recall being 23, arriving here a very long time ago, from a galaxy that was one of many that once neighbored planet Earth. We harbor many levels of elements in our existence, and as it states in alchemy, the elements are air, fire, and water. Sulfur, salt, carbon, and several others exist as well. To realize the science of who we are and how we connect and fit into this existence is nothing short of amazing. We are all godlike. We are an infinite source of energy that can never be destroyed. Our energy has no limits. We have accepted who we think we are from the ones who designed and created the past and current reality, believing we are just a body whose only purpose is to spend money, pay bills, and buy cars to store in our fancy homes. In reality, we are enslaved for their purpose and convenience. This is so they can exist in a reality made up of their own illusions of economics and the thrill to see others suffer by their own ignorance, each human not knowing that he or she has held the key and power the whole time. Chapter 4: The Science of Cell Interaction in the Vessel. The cells in the human body are influenced by the vibration of the environment around us. They will impact us in some way if we do not understand how the laws of man affect our own vibrations and what transpires around us. The level of vibration our bodies function at depends on how we are able to comprehend our own environment and how it impacts us to be light-spirited or dark-spirited. We have the ability to manifest our desires by creating new cells that will evolve to reside within once the human begins to be enlightened about the powers of freedom from within the vessel. The energy inside us reacts to outside energy and is drawn to us by our own vibration manifested by the heart. Our vibration is a result of what is happening around us and how we react to what is projected at that moment. To understand this is absolutely a matter of living or just existing. Without this realization of truth, the soul will continue to be enslaved and will reincarnate as many times as it takes. It will return to the design created by man until the soul has been successful in the concept of total freedom to ascend to the highest realm and remain there. Negative energy is converted into positive energy by creating cells through wholesome thoughts. As a thought is conceived, it creates a cell in the body enforced by the mind and heart, and from that one cell, it will continue to multiply, the same as a negative thought will do if it is fed. That is why so many give up and say this stuff isn't real. It takes time to grow a garden, after all, and lots of attentiveness is required. as relapses into negative thoughts are to be expected. This indicates that there are more bad cells within the vessel than good cells. The bad cells are like little memory chips that need to be converted into good cells that signal a positive vibration to the soul and heart. Replacing these cells requires being taught the system of how all things are connected and understanding that this science will actually manifest the process even faster. It strengthens the good cells to reproduce at a much faster rate, further reinforcing the other good cells. Once the soul has built up enough good cells, the good cells begin to either convert or push out the bad ones through body fluids. This purifies the immune system by converting and overpowering the bad cells, creating a whole new reality. How do I know this? A very brilliant scientist discovered the cells, their environment, and the laws that govern them. The brilliant scientist of our time is Bruce Lipton. His knowledge of cells further helped me understand how the mind, energy, and body interact with each other and the energy outside our vessels, which is the environment. This concept teaches that once the body has exchanged all bad cells for good love cells, disease, fear, or lack cannot exist. In an illuminated, harmonious body, the immune system is way too powerful and rejects the bad cells even faster. How the current environment and the system of reality created by man holds the key to our ignorance is reason enough to band together and stand united to forever end this system of darkness. I don't know about the rest of the world, but I personally have experienced enough of this reality of cheap tricks, and I have no desire to wait and see what they have in store for us in the near future. Humans will unknowingly draw to themselves certain people and situations, unable to understand that the mind reacts and creates cells that send out signals that will create an experience that is either positive or negative. Cells are energy, and they have their own vibration. Cells are created by our thoughts, which produce a vibration of emotions from the heart that draws to us the experience of either bliss or sadness. I myself made this discovery and wrote about it in detail in my first book, The Pyramid of Love and Gratitude and the Laws of the Universe, under the name Melinda Pearce. This book is the foundation and path to the current writings you are reading right now, and both combined will draw all who read them to the conclusion of a journey to freedom for us. As mentioned early on, it is hard to imagine, much less accept, that our minds are responsible for everything we experience, good or bad. Once an emotion is given energy and sent out to the ether or cosmos, whether it is good or bad, that energy creates a vibration. That vibration reacts in such a way that it instantly summons the manifestation of that thought in physical form to us. I realize many have their own desires and wants and really don't consider others when seeking these desires. How does one change a reality of doom and suffering by creating new cells? What causes lack and suffering in the first place? Who benefits from this type of reality, and what measures do they go through to keep it in place? How could cells in the body be connected to the solar system and the environment outside our vessels? How does a mind become independent, able to think clearly and understand the concept of cause and effect once all receptors are open and fully engaged and used? Staying connected to the invisible energy around us at all times, the free will allows us to connect to this energy and enables the soul to make a choice. Our vibration and state of mind draw to us both negative and positive energy, and that must be balanced to grasp all of what you are reading right now. It has been a rule of thumb to settle for doom in this society, as it seems to have the most power and is easiest to accept. The falsely perpetuated agents in power do seem to be in control when the mind is lacking the truth of what it is supposed to know and how it is meant to help go, create by means of existing in a reality free from fear of mental or even physical enslavement. It is because of the enormous number of bad cells in the body that it is sending the signal of lack and doom, as it has become a program purposely planted to oppress the soul as a result of how the environment is designed to instill fear and lack and its overall effect on the mind. Once the reality of superior knowledge is acknowledged, new cells will be created, and the more this is reinforced, the more it will eventually yield superior knowledge. This concept will then be better understood. The cells are reproducing at a much faster rate, and it will be felt through the mind and the emotions. It has been realized that the material world has played a huge part in influencing how we exercise our free will. It has been demonstrated that harboring wealth was previously acknowledged as the highest power we can achieve. This is only half the truth, and the counterpart of the highest power of who we are resides in the unseen invisible energy that is just waiting to be called upon at any given moment. It seems lack is called upon the most in this current reality, as that is how we have been trained to exist under such illusions. Sadness, worry, and fear are the dark emotions that send the signals required to keep the current reality we exist in relevant. Chapter 5: The Power of the Mind and its Soul. In the last chapter, I explained the importance of the free will, along with how the cells are used to manipulate thoughts and feelings into the creation of tangible things. I will further explain how the free will is the invisible sensor to the mind and the soul. The free will enables the mind to think and create by the vibrations of our desires. Our emotions are closely connected to all we do and experience. Like the free will, the mind also has its own hidden secrets that are unknown to the human vessel. The soul has existed almost in a sense of being lifeless, as it has only been permitted to come alive when the ego and personality have entered into rest along with the vessel. When the vessel rests, the soul's energy awakens and can be freed from the sustained reality of a man-created world of lack, hatred, and fear. How does the mind function? And just what are the mind and soul anyway? Together they are responsible for all we see around us. To learn alchemy is to know the purpose of our existence, the very science of how the free will, mind, and soul come together as one. Once that happens, the world as we know it will no longer exist. The reality of fear, enslavement, and oppression will no longer be our experience. This will be known by the ones who have bestowed such actions of images onto the souls who reside in this man-created reality. The heart and the brain are nothing but electricity and are the conductors to the invisible energy that is around us, drawn to us by the vibration that results from our emotions and the amount of love in our hearts. The concept of love and its connection to this invisible energy will remain even after the vessel has run its course in each reincarnated individual. I have had visions of the brain and the traveling electricity that is connected to the higher realm of this reality. To know the science of what we are is imperative to seeking the truth and accepting it. The energy of the mind is in a realm by itself. To visualize the finished product or action is to be a co-creator of our own reality and destiny. There are numerous levels that must be understood to their full completeness. To miss one important detail is to miss the whole picture. The mind has the ability to create anything the spirit can possibly desire, and there are no limits whatsoever. The desire, intent, and emotion of what the heart, spirit, and mind send out into this reality is then sent out into the cosmos and the higher realm so the universe can deliver. From that, the energy from thought that was sent via the mind and the emotions of the heart pulls the following from the invisible realm of energy, atoms, cells, and molecules that are in all things, including the human vessel. Every human is reunited with source energy when we ascend, and then we are sent back, unless we already mastered the superior law while in this powerful reality of consciousness. The mind was only to exist in the realm of freedom to create love and not to be enslaved by the concept of debt, finance, or any other man-created concept. The reality of equality for every soul is the purpose of the soul. The mind cannot exist without a soul or a universe to sustain every need and want. If we are not creating, we have all but ignored our free will to create by the superior knowledge that has been within us the entire time. The soul has more power than anyone could imagine. Instead, the reality of enslavement was created to sustain this dense, dark reality of doom that is fear. We have allowed ourselves to exist in this reality right now by not seeking the truth and utilizing our free will. There is nothing in this reality that cannot be achieved once the truth has been known and exercised. To realize that all things are created by all minds, not just a few. The current reality of all humans is to be in love with material things, not realizing that the things we give so much love to don't have the ability to love any of us in return. Love is invisible energy and we have mistakenly used material things to express love to each other. This was a huge mistake on our part. The only way to learn all we are to know is to understand the love we have for each soul, no matter what vessel any soul resides in at any given time. The energy of all vessels is the exact same. The difference is the knowledge that exists in the cells of a particular soul. There are two types of knowledge. One is man-created social economics for the current standards of living, and the other is the natural laws of our universe. One is real, and the other is implied or taught. Only one holds the highest knowledge encrypted in both the soul and DNA that is connected to the invisible energy that is not only within us but also is in all things around us. The other holds limited knowledge that relies on fear and lack to survive. Because of the free will not being used properly, this man-created reality has been allowed to survive for millennia. To know the laws of this universe is to tap into the higher realm and rise above what we have been taught. We must realize that this planet can never be owned, and all its material, whether bought, stolen, or created, will never leave this reality. Just like the game of Monopoly, eventually it ends, and all the pieces are placed back in the box until more players come along and continue the very same concept of reality. I have spent much of my time looking to the higher realm and expanding my mind for answers, and by golly, I have received every one of them. This is precisely why I am sharing this, not for monetary gain but because it is my soul's purpose for existing in this current consciousness, not to mention it is the godly thing to do. Every soul has the right to seek its own answer, no matter how weird this all may seem. The one good thing to know once the purpose is achieved is that every individual life form upon exiting this reality ascends with complete knowledge. This means each one mastered the three most important concepts of our existence, which, again, are the science of creation, the preservation of creation itself, and wealth of love. In the end, it will become obvious to each of us that we had the power the entire time, and we allowed ourselves to be used like mindless puppets. Knowing the energy of the soul, heart and mind and its ability to send out to the cosmos a thought or idea, which, like a boomerang, returns with the action or the tangible items, is magic of the three. Learning how to use science to understand how the mind is responsible for all we experience is the most important understanding we could ever gain for ourselves and those around us. Chapter 6: The Three Elements of Enlightenment. The science of the three elements of energy, matter, and knowledge all comes from our creative minds, which are complete with the correct knowledge necessary to exist as one and bring the invisible reality and the reality of our material world together. In a full reality of superior stealth knowledge and wealth, one absolutely could not exist without the other. The vibration of the energy is the main factor in the creation process to acknowledge in the present moment at all times. It is this powerful ability to be in a vibration of power in the present moment that the force reacts to our vibration and command. To see any and all things in the present is to create by the power of knowing by experience. Once the reality of not only the mind but the soul as well becomes known, the result will be on its way within seconds to minutes. The reality man relies on is the concept and illusion of the material world and the concept of fear. The idea of material things has replaced and compromised the natural reality of superior knowledge and power and the ability to create from just a thought. Our ability to use our free will in conjunction with the creative part of the brain-mind has been forsaken and replaced by a reality that has enslaved every soul on this globe. One cannot put a price tag of illusion on the concept and reality of superior knowledge and love and the power connected to the elements mentioned above. Together they create a formula that withstands the influence of the material reality. Once it is understood and mastered, a sound mind will not be attracted to something that is not real. The most important realization is the science of how all material things come to be in our reality. Knowledge is not supposed to be used to turn us against one another or to separate us from the love of each other. The material things are constant existence in this plane and will always remain, even once we have returned home, whether invented, naturally occurring, or purchased. These objects of matter will remain as an example of what a creative mind or minds have brought into existence by thinking and sending out that desire and vision of having it in the physical form by the means of motivational science. Creative vibration is around us at all times. All one has to do is to look at what many minds before now, including our own, have created. As the mind thinks, sending out that signal of creation, it continues to create. The problem has been that we are thinking of someone else's instructions and program. Most prior creations of material things have been held as hierarchy and have been permitted to be the rulers of all powerful minds. It must be known that everything, no matter what its form, including currency and any asset that may be held by any human, was completely created by the mind. We have been repeatedly convinced that we are insignificant, and allow me to share with you, if a mind is weak and pliable, It can be taught all the wrongs and untruths imaginable. It makes perfect sense, as we have been following a program of another's reality, and until we change the paradigm to seek the truth of this knowledge, many will continue to exist just the same as they have existed. It is not only the crime of the millennia but the crime of eternity if we don't stop and think and reach out to each other for guidance and exercise free will. I know together we can return to the original state of powerful superior knowledge we had in the very beginning. The difference is we will not be vulnerable ever again. Once we reconnect, we have shifted our consciousness to exist in an empowered state, in complete control of reality by virtue of the free will. The reason people would not believe it is that they have yet to comprehend the power that has been within them the whole time. It is called free will and the ability to think and use the mind properly to utilize and balance the energy around us at all times, both light and dark energies. For humans to not examine the reason this has been hidden from us before now has never made sense to me, although I understand what has been the cause and how it has survived. As I said earlier, it is our own energy that is used against us to keep this feeling of lack and enslavement to the current environment relevant to all who benefit from it. This means we have the controlled capability to tap into the superior knowledge of understanding within ourselves for the benefit of making each of our lives better. You must clear your mind and learn to focus on the inner sounds of peace the body emits through vibrations when you are in a deep contemplative state and in harmony with nature around you. When you are aware of yourself, but even more aware of your surroundings, once you have reached the state of enlightenment, you will begin to realize and understand the power of the mind and what can be accomplished by finding positive new ways of thinking. Don't let others dictate corrupt practices through manipulation of the entire population and use loveless tactics to control our souls by way of fear of death or impoverishment. The fact is, the invisible energy that can never be destroyed is in you for eternity. We have life after life to try and rectify what has caused this cycle of ages to occur. In the material world, our vessels are made of the same, and their remains will always reside in Jai Earth. Only the energy of our souls lives for eternity, but the population has been taught to focus on life in relation to our vessels. The vessel is dense mass, just like all material things. It is dead mass with a very low vibration of energy compared to what the soul's energy produces. The soul is connected to the unseen planes of energies that are around us at all times. These energies are within our vessels and are completely surrounded on the outside, just waiting to be summoned to our command. It took me enough time to put all this information together, and now that I have learned many facts of matter and energy, I can relax and breathe a sigh of relief. I am more complete now and more confident in myself because of this rediscovered knowledge. No human will ever remove the created illusions of material things from this reality. The only thing that is permitted to go with the soul is either the enlightened mind of superior law and knowledge or the ignorance of the fool who failed miserably to take a step back and look closer into the broader spectrums of what was important. Chapter 7. To exist in the highest realm of all realities. The reality of energy is that it has its own reality, separate from the experience of the material reality, and what we do and have is not worthy to exist in the most powerful realm of reality and creation. What we experience in the human vessel's reality is by our own creation, even if we are feeding our energy to actions bestowed to others. I will return this time to the higher realm, not empty-minded but with complete love and superior knowledge, along with the science of superior wealth from my very powerful mind, which I once had before I agreed to return to this reality of illusion. I returned to help others escape the constraints placed upon them. Instead, I became influenced and confused, and that is how I lost my way. For me, there is nothing in this reality that is superior to the knowledge that is to be rediscovered by every human. All one has to do is look around to see what is in the correct flow of energy and what is lacking in this reality. Is it that difficult to just think and see what needs to be corrected? Every human has the very same ability. I know I am a teacher among other teachers from another place and time. Together we can exist in the energy and consciousness of Christ, as he has been my master of knowledge and all I have rediscovered. The channeled knowledge was shown to me through what I thought were dreams but were holograms of visions of what my soul had witnessed and remembered from my astral travels. My knowledge comes not from a textbook of man but from superior laws that govern all universes. Wealth is created now usually by the standards of a man-created reality that involves stealing from another or benefiting from another's ignorance or shortcomings, such as debt, and that is not the wealth of the higher realm. Don't be misled to think any wealth will do, because it absolutely does matter where it comes from and how it is obtained. The science of wealth is very real in the higher realm. How wealth even comes about is through the energy and knowledge of the mind and its ability to connect to the invisible side. From that, the mind sends the signal of that desire. From that signal, the vibration is created, which then interacts with the atoms, cells, carbon, and molecules that are brought together in a reasonable amount of time to create the series of events that will enable you to produce the tangible item or situation that was previously thought of. It can then be experienced, seen, touched, or held. To create wealth by natural creativity is real. To have achieved wealth through others' losses is not connected to superior law and will not grant you the right to reside in the higher realm. One is earned by the science of creation, and one is an illusion of the reality of what man has created. Wealth must come from the science or creativity of the mind, such as inventions, music, acting, and writing, basically anything that is connected to the elements of helping others or this planet and not the perpetuating concept of a system in a man-created reality. Every human has the ability to expand the mind and co-creates whatever his or her soul desires. I would like to share some of my favorite acting and musical performances that pack a powerful message to wake up. These include the holiday movie It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart, and though there are many, a couple of songs that stand out are Chris Ria's The Road to Hell, John Lennon's Imagine. The messages are in the lyrics if one just would pay attention and listen closely. In this universe, there is balance created by love and peace. It has always been balanced, and if our planet is at a wobble, I am putting this out there as theory only, is it possible that our unbalanced state of mind is the cause? The nature of this planet is balanced. It is the human's reality of illusion that is out of balance. What are some of the man-created realities that have caused all minds to react in a way that feeds the energy for their agenda to continue to thrive? War, economic collapse, homelessness, debt, disease, these all replace the elements of knowledge, power of love, and wealth. The entire globe is in some way influenced by these man-created realities. It has been a way of life for many, many thousands of years. Chapter 8: The Reality of War and Inheritance. The dark truth: the reality of war only teaches ignorance and separates us from our purpose. The concept is to fight and destroy each other as if it is a sport. What is war good for anyway but to create an economy for the system designed by the greed of a few men? Be careful about what you believe to be just with regard to war. One may experience firsthand what it is like to be the recipient of this system designed by man in a future life in the realm of karma. How long does each term of life exist? How can we claim anything in the material world is temporary in the present? How can we make claims on elements that have been here long before mankind? How could humans continue to exist in the way we have for so long? War and debt serve only one purpose, and that is to act as a diversion to keep the mind from connecting to the superior law of the master's knowledge. The mind must be burdened at all times. This serves to keep it from the ability to astrally seek the freedom of the soul. Instead, many will retire into the night hours with the burden of lack and worry of paying debt. The ones who created this reality will be out in the dark of the night, practicing, unbeknownst to most people, pagan rituals, knowing their thoughts are energy and will connect to the weak-minded who are enslaved by the current reality. In the material world, we believe inheritance from our elders is such a gift, but we never stop to think that what the gift delivers is a reality that ensures a system continues to be practiced. In many cases the government has its hand in these hand-me-downs in some way. If it is real estate, the property has a tax. If they are stocks, they are taxed. The influence of the system of man is always in some way involved, as it should, being the system is designed that way. There is nothing in this world more important than the truth. One thing I do know is that my mind is very clear in what it sees and knows now. I have to admit, the day I could see the light, though it was pure bliss for me, was very overwhelming. It was daunting to be able to see these realities, both the one we live in and the one waiting to be discovered by each soul on a scientific level. Once I could see myself from outside this reality looking in, I found that I was filled with anger beyond words. My whole life I had questions and feelings, yet I had no idea as to why. The world I could see seemed to be invented, and I did not realize just how it was invented. What I mean by invented is not the Big Bang Theory but rather how the world is run, oppression, depression, and suffering. I felt the truth without knowing there had to be a simple explanation. What gives all of what we see and experience such an elaborate illusion of reality? The word is vibration, and the effect is what is created by a specific action. Everything is static, not stagnant. In this universe and related to the number 5, nothing will remain the same. The number 5 is the symbol of change. Our ignorance is what has allowed this current system of reality to survive for as long as it is by attaching itself to the weakness that is layer upon layer, smothering our souls from any past lives until the current time. If war had a purpose in my mind, it would be that all this time when we thought we were fighting each other, no matter what the reason, we were, in some unknown or misunderstood way, trapped in a battle preparation state for the possibility of an alien attack or an unknown collision in space. The effects would impact our planet, and that would certainly produce a threat greater than the likes of which we have ever seen. This would create a logical reason to band together in the battle for spiritual survival to save ourselves. The possibility of this as likely as our own vibration can be felt in the depths of space, and the amount of lack of each human harbor creates a strong signal as we are the conductors of a network of dark energy by our lack of knowledge. It's what we experience daily in our own reality. Just as the ones who designed this current system, there are friendly and also unfriendly aliens out there with the same demeanor as the ones who created our system of reality. President Ronald Reagan once spoke of the possibility of an outside attack, as he disclosed that he and his wife, Nancy, witnessed a flying saucer flying parallel with Air Force One during one of their travels. We will discover that these occurrences have been a constant presence here on planet Earth dating as far back as the time when the Sumerians and Anunnaki ruled the Earth. To the Egyptians, this was the beginning of enlightenment on Earth from another place and time. Yet without knowing what lies in wait in other parts of the globe, the very opposite reality was being bestowed on the rest of humanity in the form of lack and suffering, in which case, at this time, they soon realized and understood that this planet was invaded by numerous outside beings that were causing this confusion. This would explain numerous cultures and descendants of our vessels. We are energy in a vessel, and the vessel cannot exist without the energy to fill it and sustain life. To grasp this is to have the ability to see the invisible energy as it is. What keeps your vessel alive and well? The vessel cannot sustain life without the energy of the soul present inside it. The shift in our knowledge and thinking skills is going to bring about a change in this state of consciousness and reveal to each of us how we use our powerful minds to understand the science of life. How we put this knowledge to use in the creation process to achieve all we desire under different circumstances than we are currently experiencing is going to bring with it a new sense of hope and healing for mankind and encourage peace and prosperity through the pureness of love and gratitude. There are no limits on our power when we are correctly using our full potential to achieve all we can. The only limits are the limits we place upon ourselves by saying I can't or not using all of our potential to build a stronger foundation for ourselves. The old way of thinking will be replaced by the proper way of thinking. The future will be a mind of knowing by creating the cells both inside and outside the vessel, drawing to us the necessary cells from the outer environment of knowledge and reinforcing each one with patience and love. There are many reasons why we should be practicing this knowledge, but the biggest reason is to save the energy of our cells. One must grasp that we are letting our Creator down if we don't get it together and see clearly what is correct and what is not, in other words what feels correct and what does not. We must protect our Creator and His creation, which is you, me, and all living things around us, by remaining ignorant and allowing the same species of humans to control and create a program that is designed against all God intended, and by condoning this sanction of enslavement against us that is placed onto ourselves. It is just like enslaving and destroying God and all He has created in His own likeness, which is us, all we are, and all the things around us. Everyone on this entire planet, even the ones who have gone above and beyond to continue this reality of control and suffering by not allowing this knowledge to be known, must realize that the third peril, the worst destruction in the history of mankind, is going to happen as part of the plan of the two realities becoming one before Earth undergoes massive changes that will affect the ability for life as we feel it in this state of consciousness to be sustained. The ones who are stuck in the clutches of this design that is man-created and material-driven will take care of that in an instant once this knowledge spreads like a wildfire, as it should. The third peril is to be taken very seriously. No amount of firepower or technology will stop what is coming our way. Only the required knowledge of truth will protect the soul and allow it to ascend to the next dimension of reality. I have had visions of mass intrusions and death of the vessel. My first thought, as a person once controlled by this dense reality, was to buy 2 guns for protection from these invaders. I realized I was not alone when I witnessed what I was seeing. Then I heard the familiar voice I had heard many times before, which was the voice of Christ, who said, "Child, have you not learned anything? The only thing that will save the soul of the people is to strengthen their minds." This is what it boils down to. Most will continue to live for their material possessions in a man-created reality, feeling a false sense of security in the thought that their material things will protect or sustain their souls. This is simply not at all what will result. The fact is, they will only have acted as a false sense of security, robbing people of the opportunity to allow the knowledge of the soul to emerge. No one ever wants to be blindsided, and that is exactly what will occur. To exist and experience life is a choice we are given, and there are laws we must adhere to that we agree to be seekers of knowledge and to expand our minds to our fullest potential imaginable. All must arise to the occasion to look deep into the Master and Creator, see what has been there the entire time, and awaken that sleeping giant. What is there to lose? Absolutely nothing except for the opportunity to thrive. But there is plenty of knowledge for all to realize pertaining to freedom and eternal life. This type of intelligence is what is missing in our current reality. The ability to bestow from our heart has been buried. The very idea of giving more to others and desiring less for ourselves is what is needed to balance this reality of doom we have helped to create. We have inadvertently lain down and accepted it, as if we were mindless puppets not responsible enough to use our free will to seek the highest knowledge of creation. All should look beyond the current system of education that is provided by the ones who designed the current system and beliefs. It is a law that children must attend school until a certain age. What is not a law is a caregiver expanding the mind by learning of the following. The study of alchemy goes way back to the pharaohs of Egypt. They were the masters of alchemy. The connection is unbelievable yet remarkable at the same time. This may seem like rocket science, but I can assure you it is not. The ability of the mind to communicate to its soul while the vessel is in rest mode, signaling to the energy of the soul that it is safe to take flight to exit the body through meditation and sleep, is so important to obtaining the correct knowledge. To have the understanding and ability to acknowledge the energy in all things, living and created, is to be one step closer to freedom of the mind. The energy in all things is as one, existing at different frequencies of vibration. All humans astral travel every time they enter into sleep. If people believe they have not experienced this reality of the energy and soul traveling, it is due to lack of memory or because of the baggage of what their minds have been taught. All concepts have realities. Dead is a concept created by man but has the ability to form a reality that is not in alignment with the laws of both God and the universe. The most important thing to be aware of is the information each cell has stored within its own system and how the outside environment in its current state affects all the cells in the body that also make up our personal reality and how we exist in intelligence or fear. Each cell harbors its own reality, not only inside our vessels but outside as well. How we think and react to all things is the method to signal what we are feeling, which is identified as the energy of vibration. The system of reality we had been using did nothing but waste time none of us can retrieve. The good news is we now know we have other options and methods of finding the path to freedom. Now that we understand how to use our minds with the loving condition of the free will, we have the map to the higher realm of all realities. Once it is understood that our energy continues, the old system is replaced with all the laws that govern science of the free mind. Death is not real, and I plan to discover how to recognize the energy of the souls I once was among while in this current reality and consciousness. To seek the ability to reconnect to familiar energy in the next round of existence is now my life agenda, and I know it can be discovered because I know it can. The programming of the mind with regard to death and the purpose to life for material things creates a separation between what is real and what is not. Our intentions have been to acquire wealth before understanding the science of how wealth is created and how to master the power to continue to obtain the knowledge, which is the clue that creates all we can imagine. The secretive world and reality that has been deliberately hidden from our current consciousness has held the missing piece of a puzzle that is connected to the purpose of life. I have recently discovered that the reality of matter that planet Earth supplies, including the elements and the energy of spirit, is the driving force of creation, and the two are one and the same. What I came to realize is I had been doing the opposite of what was required. I was resisting any kind of wealth or anything to do with the concept, as I had in previous lives, not realizing it was just as much a part of the reality. It is required of the spirit and soul to express this knowledge by exercising the free will, which is what makes all things possible. One comes with the other, as it takes any and all creative minds to visualize the unseen or invisible and to form it into matter or something tangible in the present consciousness. Without a doubt, both the material world and the spiritual world go hand in hand. If someone only believes in one and not the other, that soul is being cheated out of the real truth of the two realities being as one. Neither could come into being without the other's assistance. The vessel alone is matter that can be experienced, seen, or touched, and its soul harbors the invisible energy of encrypted knowledge. This is the proof of the two realities being one. Lacking either one or the other of these two realities of knowledge has created lack and ignorance, and this eliminates the two realities of knowledge and presents only one reality, which describes the soul returning to the higher realm as a fool who sees matter as the only reality in our consciousness. If one sees and believes in only one, especially the one that can be seen, which is massive wealth, then that soul has cheated itself out of the kingdom of knowledge that has been bestowed and the blueprinted, encrypted knowledge by not exercising the free will. We have cheated ourselves out of our purpose of being here, which is to be co-creators, seeing beyond a planet and well into the vast universe by achieving a higher dimension of reality. The invisible sector has no desire to wipe out our desire to acquire material things. We are to know the science of how all things are created and not to forsake each other for the greed of material objects. Not knowing this creates a lack of balance and knowledge to utilize our God-given ability to co-create all we desire on a singular level. As there is plenty of source energy and an abundance of endless elemental resources produced not by man but the cosmos and our planet, which will always remain, there are endless amounts of resources of future technology that require action from the mind and less labor of the vessel. The only purpose for the vessel is to house our souls and allow knowledge to be experimented with so we can be little gods of knowledge and the pure energy of our Creator, which is God. Instead we are taught that our bodies are the most important, and more important than the mind, and that is simply not true. Just as there is an abundance of resources, there is also an abundance of vessels. The earth replenishes all that is borrowed, no questions asked. The vessel is connected to matter and the elements of earth, and it is the invisible energy that enters into the womb and then into the vessel. However, the soul is connected to cosmic knowledge and the energy of the unseen reality that receives no acknowledgement in this system designed by man. The possibility of some man-created realities of business being affected by this knowledge is very likely. The good news is that it is not the end for commerce, but rather, it will be the end of how we have conducted business in the past. The survival of governments will depend on how they adapt to this knowledge being shared and finally used by the world. It surely will not be under the same terms used at present. Liberty, equality, and freedom will be the new government. They are correct when they have announced their plan of a new world order. Let this be a lesson in how energy can return to protect the ones who need it from a government that traded its honor and dignity and allowed the ones who are attempting to take over the world to instill fear as leverage to achieve their agenda by committing theft and by taking energy from each human. This will not transpire on my watch. In my opinion, government has been outsmarted by the real source of power, which is God. Their purpose and agenda has led to their own demise. Their plan has backfired because of their own ignorance and has led to their own system finally being replaced with the real laws of God. Our future will not be of a reality of war. We have the power and choice to lead a life of harmony in which there will be no reason for it. As all engage in this powerful knowledge, what is real and what is not will be evident. War will be eliminated. It will affect certain organizations, such as big banks, negatively. Both the government and the large banking system have previously held the control, causing so many to live in ignorance, ensuring that we continue to perpetuate the lies meant to keep us from achieving harmony and power within ourselves. It is so evident to me now that these two realities of creation exist, and one can be seen while the other is invisible. One is light and one is dark. It is the act of the mind that pulls creative thoughts, whether good or bad. The eyes are to see and experience the creation and watch it come to this reality in our present moment by knowing how to use our minds to create all we desire. The invisible energy holds all the light and real power from real knowledge. The dark is the illusion we experience in this dense reality of man that we see and feel by emotions. The two realities are about to switch places. What is behind the curtain will soon be our daily practice, and what we experience now will be buried deeply as we become the abundance of love created by our source, which is God. So many times we fail to see with our eyes closed or even to acknowledge, viewing the reality through the third eye, that the mind has more to do with the creation process than the physical action of the vessel. The most important detail of our existence is to utilize the mind and use it for its original purpose, which is to think and create. Instead, the mind has been trained to exist as an enslaved and deprived environment and an asset-driven reality that has been manipulated by a system that serves to prevent us from our true purpose. That purpose is to be co-creators, existing as one in both worlds, both seen and unseen. My psychic, Cher, led me to my conclusion. On September 7, 2012, she informed me of numerous things. Most of them I already knew, but there were two concepts I had yet to master. One was the art of communication, and the other was alchemy. I have to admit that the alchemy really threw me at first. I had only ever connected it to the world of material matter, which I mistakenly believed to be responsible for the suffering and lack experienced by much of humanity. It was not until I purchased the alchemy book The Path of Alchemy, by Mark Stavish, that I was shown what I had been missing all along, not only the study of alchemy but also the study of science. Chapter 9. The most superior part of our existence is Christ consciousness. The soul, spirit, and mind are the most powerful parts of who we are. The material world was intended to allow the mind to achieve many levels of dimensions in the current consciousness by mastering the science of the exact amount of time it requires to manifest the unseen desired energy that brings about its own reality that is very much real and a part of us. Knowing this concept has officially created the reality as one. Once both realities are acknowledged and accepted, the as one concept and reality has been created. The as one reality means just this: your body, which consists of both matter and energy, will always remain in Earth's atmosphere, which is one huge atom. Your soul, which is energy and is connected to the invisible world of spirit and the cosmos and all of our Christ consciousness, is the knowledge that is encrypted in the soul and connects both realities of the inner part of existence and the outer part, which is our source creator, God. What I see is the meek grasping this concept and advancing into their God-given birthright. As it stands, they have nothing to lose and all the knowledge and riches to gain. The most important part of learning all of this is to combine and eternally join both of these worlds or realities as one. Within our universe is a symbol of a triangle that represents the alchemy in us all to find our inner three-dimensional pyramid of knowledge, wealth, and love, which is to neutralize and balance this current reality of suffering and enslavement of the brilliant mind. This is done through Christ consciousness by the decoding of his symbol in numerology, which is the number 3, that is the Holy Trinity. We live in a constant state of seeking matter only versus spirit. The mind has to be engaged to be not only taught but also to be shown how to acknowledge and be responsible for all that is brought, delivered, or created in this current reality of consciousness we exist in right now in this world. This means that to accumulate objects just for the sake of having them and to not be educated in what assisted the object to come to be in our reality of consciousness indicates that the material object is more important than the source of its creation, which has 3 dimensions of reality. One is mind, the second is energy, the third is matter. If any of the 3 is missing, the object will not exist in a reality. Now is the time to be teachers and pupils, diligent in working together to see the validity of what is being presented. My soul's purpose is to enlighten every willing person who walks the face of this earth. There will be people who will be doubtful and mockingly hold fast to their materialistic mentality. They are the real fools, placing all their knowledge and power into matter only while ignoring and denouncing the realistic laws that make up the true reality of our purpose in existence that has been invisible to the eye but is known by the soul. The reality that is the most important part of why material things exist is to know the invisible part is the source of all material things we see and enjoy. This is who we are and have been since the beginning of our consciousness. What we have been missing was the ability to understand what the purpose of life means and why Christ came to guide our souls with his intention by teaching us wisdom through love and kindness. He wants us to reopen our mind's eye, third eye, and see that we have held the power for eternity. We were just derailed from the blueprint of our soul. From every life each soul has lived and through all situations that became an experience that made up this current reality and state of mind. The agenda for the spirit within mankind would evolve to be a continuum cycle of energy that runs by means of ego, greed, and lies to create a barrier from each life, covering the blueprint of knowledge of the soul. This is the power of the free will that is forever attached to each spirit for eternity. It is very important to understand that there is no time clock to measure space and time in the higher realm. Here on Earth, time can be calculated by what may seem to be thousands to millions of years to us, but certainly this is not the unit of measurement used by the other side of this reality. Our reality creates the illusion of time dragging along, and it seems as if it has been forever. However, what is recorded in this realm of reality is not the same in the higher realm of reality. To give you an example, through all the lives I have experienced, I only have recovered a few through my astral travels that date back to the Egyptians and Africans. I have cut through this reality designed by man in a very short time. Considering all I have rediscovered, the beauty of this discovery is, regardless of the mistakes I have made, I invested the required time by devoting my entire purpose of life to seeking the truth and to reconnecting to something I knew was there the whole time, a lost knowledge. These writings will create a much faster understanding of the knowledge for each human to achieve than it has taken me to make the discoveries I have made. These discoveries have taken me most of my life to understand through my experiences. I know there is much more to learn in the decoding of the current reality, and that together, with all souls working side by side, we will embark on a new journey into the light of self-discovery. The most important part of who we are is love and gratitude. We are able to experience and have all the things we have because of the invisible realm of our reality that has been right in front of us the entire time. Christ had to exist in this reality and ascend from this reality to finish God's work from the higher realm. He created the mission to send many souls to assist him with his purpose from both realities. This mission of Christ to forever free all souls was well thought out for us long ago, but to Christ it was just yesterday in his reality. It has been a process of precise calculation for his intention to be known. He sacrificed to exist in the other reality to give us the glory of his great works by assisting the ones who returned from our celestial home dimension to continue his mission to free us from the enslavement we have known for way too long here on Earth. He has assisted the ones who dare to challenge the reality of darkness from the individuals that have held all the control and manipulated our free will. This realm of reality is just waiting to be summoned into existence, just waiting to balance the paradigms once and for all. However, only when we open our minds and use our free will to think and know it will it allow this realm to be present. I am only one of numerous souls who have been spiritually awakened to work through Christ's guidance and superior knowledge. He allowed me to learn from numerous trying situations. He tested me on every level so I would know that no matter what had been done to me in this reality, it would never be real. I still harbor no hatred or revenge toward anyone. My current past holds much tragedy, but I prevailed and ascended above all the illusions of hurtful experiences I encountered during this current life. Christ ascended with great powers as he forgave the ones who had forsaken him. He forgave while he lived in this powerful consciousness, and he ascended with what was required to exist in the higher realm of peace and love. Christ was the most brilliant man to ever walk the face of this earth. My soul in this current vessel carried on until I found the path of light and righteousness in His honor to be a teacher of teachers of His invisible but very real energy and reality. My purpose is to present the truth of who we are and have always been. This is your time to shine like the brightest sun. Chapter 10. Our vibration sustains our reality. The current reality connected to our energy is influenced by our actions. When we learn to control our emotions and use our minds in a continuously positive way to think of the outcomes we truly desire, like love and equality, one soul at a time in unity, we will conquer and fulfill the rebirth of our spiritual essence. We will then acquire a newly created, self-perceived reality that is born out of the spirit of the love and unity we have achieved together with our minds. The universe and its laws react to the strongest of minds that have mastered the knowledge to use it correctly and by doing so render the desired outcome. What will the new reality of this world be like? This will not be the creation of a group of individuals calling all the shots and forcefully bestowing only their version of what they desire, but rather all will take part in molding the new reality by working together through the basic concepts of universal law. Future attorneys will not be practicing the laws of man but rather the law of source knowledge of the superior law of science, energy, and love, which is God, with the guidance of Christ. The new world order will be an order of truth, the natural laws will be practiced and will for eternity be honored, and this planet will finally be the planet of peace and enlightenment. This is what life was supposed to be originally, before the reality of darkness was given front stage by denouncing our free will. The truth is when our minds are not in control by virtue of the free will and are not strong, another's thoughts can persuasively penetrate our subconscious minds with incorrect thoughts or feelings that cause us to lose the ability to make our own decisions. Even though we may not be aware of it at the time, the results of this are what you see today. So basically, if a mind has stealth knowledge and is powerful, it has the ability to imprint its thoughts onto weak minds. This concept is used daily by our government through media broadcasting. The designed laws of man will shift from the current design and will return to the natural laws that previously governed our wonderful planet and universe. The new laws that will replace the existing ones will be laws of enlightenment. I would like to believe that because I am attuned to the light and have always felt imprinted with love and not with darkness, this is what has made the difference for me and I'm sure countless others, whether they are aware or not of what is happening around us. We must not confuse this with religion of any sort. Organized religion has failed miserably by denying the truth of the mind and the truth of alchemy to every soul who has consciousness. In the late 14th century, Nicolaus Copernicus was hired by a church in Europe to map the planets and to prove that Earth was located at the center of the universe. There was one problem that came about while Nicolaus conducted his investigation. He discovered that in fact, Earth was not at the center of the universe. His research yielded quite the opposite. The sun is the center of the universe. Nicolaus delivered the news to the church. The church instructed him to write it as they desired it to be, which was to depict Earth at the center of our universe. The findings of Nicolaus would later be supported by both Kepler and later Galileo. In one instance we can use Galileo's life's work as an example of how organized religion has been unbalanced and preserved through centuries to appease the church and its interests instead of the purpose of God and the people, which it is proclaimed to be. Galileo made the connection in the 17th century as not only an astronomer and philosopher, among other titles, but also as a cardinal of the Catholic Church. This man did not deny there is God the Creator. He was just also unable to deny that even though he had no scientific proof of the Earth's movement, besides what he observed in the ocean tides, there was more than met the eye. This led him to look to the previously discovered heliocentric theory as actual truth. This newly reintroduced scientific ideal was founded around 350 BC after recognition was given for Galileo's use of the telescope to see the heavens systematically. This did not sit well with many people of that time. Ordered by the Catholic Church and carried out by the Roman Inquisition, Galileo, after being found suspect of promoting heresy, was indefinitely imprisoned in his home for the last 12 years of his life to prevent him from sharing his knowledge and insight with the world, even though he had no evidence to prove his beliefs. Why would the Church persecute such a man? He had no scientific evidence to give solidity to his claims. It was at that time just a theory. Could it be possible that the Church knew of the words he spoke, and in order to preserve the fact that the Church's conceptions or interpretations of the stories of creation were wrong, they instead ignorantly chose to deny the truth. Why? That is the question we should all be asking ourselves. Many, including me, believe that these organizations of religion are the true culprits of our knowledge being oppressed by the mass murdering of millions of souls in the past to maintain control in the physical realm. Chapter 11 The highest purpose of Christ. Christ was born for one purpose, to serve God and the laws that govern his universes, not to have a religion created in his honor, some 300 years after his murder, to further enslave the very souls he died trying to save from the doom and ignorance of a man-created reality. The Bible was intended to be used as a guide for all humans to evolve to a higher realm of knowing. I believe many things are correct and accurate in the Bible. However, I also feel there are missing truths because of many edits to continue to fit the current system to be continued, and if there weren't, I would not be sitting here within a world of lack, writing this book right now. This raises a very important question and also discloses a network set up to act as a safety net to a three-party design created by religion, banking, and government. That is why we fail to see the big picture. Instead, we are considering death and accepting all the laws of man created out nothing but the illusion of the three-party network's tool, which is fear. We have allowed this ignorance to continue by giving our light away, by not thinking as one huge network of love, knowledge, and energy. We send out the grief, anger, or revenge as a signal, not realizing our energy is being used to sustain their reality. It has been proven scientifically that the energy of society, by using this knowledge, will eliminate its network that sustains its reality of darkness. Another example with regard to oppression of the energy of truth is in the interior of the pyramids of Giza. Hieroglyphics at certain intervals look like they have been compromised. Inside the pyramids, within the stories depicted on the walls, there are numerous missing hieroglyphics that have been worn down in what looks like deliberate and intentional markings. Close examination by archaeologists indicated some of the damage was not done by natural causes, at least not since modern man had rediscovered the pyramids. Those ancient artifacts had been erased in a past time that predates the birth of Jesus to ensure the knowledge stays buried deep under the layers of time and reality of the past. And why is that? The souls among Christ, his disciples, were to teach the power of the mind and the importance of love and gratitude and to be co-creators of the universe of God. So if any human seeks to use this teaching to boost his or her own religion, he or she is wasting valuable time with such foolish notions. There are numerous religions that have failed to bring enlightenment to all souls and spread the knowledge of truth that Christ spoke in our own power to create. Instead, the purpose is to oppress all souls and to become a partner of the network of ignorance and enslavement of the soul and mind. The truth shall be given freely and with dignity and wisdom. The reality of empowerment is the only purpose for us to exist in consciousness. We must all be enlightened in the new world of a new order, all souls to their full potential. There will be schools of enlightenment to replace a man-created school that has only taught the mind how to be enslaved and taught people how to be weak puppets, living only for war and the economics of the network of the three organizations. Our founding fathers had to have understood only half of the truth, or did they know more but because of the three network of organizations, were prevented from divulging the truth, knowing the repercussions of doing so, death, but falling short of the highest realm of superior law and power. I venture to say yes, because they also foolishly believe that having riches was all there was to know. It would take much more brilliant humans, who were born for a purpose and who would be tested on many levels, to achieve the empowerment to seek out the truth and to be certain of its validity to teach the entire world, including the wealthy, of the other truth. I don't believe in coincidences or luck. Everything is created by the desire and design of the cosmos that communicates with the mind. For our generations to reconnect and share the same ideas of empowerment for all humans and Earth is no accident. What holds the secret is the constellation we were born under and exactly where the planets were located during our births. Our constellation at birth knows all our previous lives we experienced in the past. It is true when it is said, "It is written in the stars." We will do what so many others fell short of doing and will not be swayed by things we now know we can create by the ability of our minds and knowing how to operate the mind as a command post to creation. I will never forsake what is real for any illusion in this reality. Only a fool would forsake the opportunity to act on behalf of Christ and his purpose to exist in any reality other than his knowledge of enlightenment of freedom. To not seek his wisdom would be just pure ignorance. Once you achieve understanding of how the mind should be used and how it functions with the correct information of the laws of energy and how it is responsible for all we create and all it is capable of, you will begin to feel changes. Alchemy is what we are and what we do all day. We contribute every day, whether we use our energy to co-create toward a greater reality, one of truth and pure love, or to sustain the current reality. We do have a choice in this decision. If one desires to see, all one needs to do is ask, and it will be shown to one, but the mind must be open to begin the process. Reading the correct information is the key to expanding the mind. For now, this is how it must be done, my friend. Never speak the words, "I haven't the time to learn or seek this knowledge." That is part of the design to keep you enslaved and to keep you from your highest potential. The many programs of reality of the current system are designed to create fear that we respond to by expressing the wrong emotions. How we have been trained to think and act within the parameters of lack, fear, insecurity, and greed to accomplish all we want is not what we really want or need. Consider the wealthy man, whether young or old. What the two have in common is that they will be sought after, not because of their inner selves but because of their wealth. This is not anyone's fault. Men and women use their sex appeal and forfeit real truth and happiness, all for a man-created reality. When this happens, the window of opportunity to seek real knowledge will most likely not be discovered. However, once the world is supplied with pure knowledge, this will bring in again the path to the golden age of enlightenment in the great cycle of time. Every man, woman, and child will exist by his or her very own law of desire and action as well as the science of creation, using the mind as the navigator. The reality of war will no longer be required in this world. I know once the mind has connected to its soul, and the time is served and mastery of the real superior knowledge has taken place, that soul moves on to the higher realm of realities. Humanity will not be regulated by the current forms of governments, which are trained to seek and to impose sanctions against the planet and all its citizens in order to manipulate control. These are governments that create a false reality to imprison their people within this false environment. In each specific geographic location, this knowledge, being practiced by all of society around the world, will bring about a balance in all corners of the planet. Finally, the colors of the rainbow will be experienced as each color depicts each level of reality. All parts of the world are to be shared and are equal in what the planet has to offer. It is to be ungrateful and proud against our planet to confine any soul in any way and to deny that the energy of our souls is a free agent of God and His earth, here to experience all there is to know of our planet. The earth is perfect. It is the designed reality of the environment that molds the mind of man in its current state. That is the parasite that poisons the planet and all that exists in this environment. The planet suffers when evil and darkness are unbalanced against love and light and are bestowed to any human through the lack of food or shelter. I only see balance, and I see us having everything required to create by virtue of our very own power of mind and thought. The universe is waiting eagerly to fill every desire of goodness that can be imagined. It is up to the light workers to share and teach superior universal laws to our brothers and sisters. We are as one, and together we have it all. Chapter 12 Alchemy and the Energy of the Mind. The alchemy of the brain and how it functions is the secret to the higher realm of our true reality. The study of the soul and mind is the opposite of the alchemy of material things, and how the alchemy of the brain works is simple beyond words. I know how the formula of alchemy works. I also know its connection to the mind that is driven by the passion of the heart that works together with the invisible force that is the cause of all things to become to be in our presence. The action that begins the process is as simple as opening the mind and allowing yourself to meditate on space and time in a relaxed state of consciousness in the present moment. When we walk within the path of light and fulfill our true purpose, this state of pure consciousness will serve to bring forward what we have thought. This eventually comes to be in our current realities, which are atoms, molecules, cells, carbon, and energy. This is the action of quantum physics and how all minds are constantly creating, whether they are aware of this or not. We are co-creators of everything we draw to ourselves, and by signal we send out what will become the experience of our desired thoughts. We are constantly doing one of two things, either making our own rules or following another's rules and direction. By my own understanding, I came to the conclusion of how to use this energy and how all things come together. Learning this science and knowledge has proven to me that I have been thinking and creating through my ability to visualize all I have desired from the pyramid I created, discovering what purpose it would serve in this reality. My constant and fervent thought is for all souls to experience the reality of knowledge from a higher dimension of consciousness, and that we will know that we have this blueprint within our souls, which will be connected to this source for eternity. There are two sides of alchemy. The first is the concept of material matter, and the other is the energy force that reacts from the command of the mind, which is where I have gained my knowledge and understanding, the study of the soul and mind. Only a soul or spirit is pure energy and harbors all the buried knowledge that only the free will can activate. The universe, soul, and mind go hand in hand. One will not exist without the other, and each one is sustained by the other. They exist as one. This includes the atoms, molecules, and cells that are present in all things and become infused by the energy of thought, which is what enables us to co-create all that has been and all that will be in the past, present, and future. I know this must sound pretty wild, but I can tell you it is absolutely true. It has been the best kept secret that has been within us the whole time. Only a few actions are required. One is free will. The reasoning for free will is to allow each mind to do and make a choice that no other has any jurisdiction over. It is important to separate man's reality from the reality of stealth, superior knowledge, and the power of the free will. Without it, nothing would be possible. Take a look at your surroundings. What do you see? Consider everything: furniture, art, clothes, appliances. It has taken an unlimited amount of minds to create all of what you have and see in your presence. What is missing is the ability to think and understand how it all came into this reality. We seem to take for granted that any given person is smart and creative. More often than we realize, the people who create things have done so without realizing the alchemy of how they have achieved it. That can be dangerous. To create and yet not have the foggiest idea how it came to be a tangible item. Sadly, many create for the purpose of wealth, thinking this is what is going to sustain them and make them happy. It is a temporary fix that will never fill the void in the heart of what is required to feel complete. Only learning the knowledge through science and logic will deliver to each soul the reality of the power of love and fill the gaping void in the heart. When the quantum physics are not understood, the material things we create out of an unbalanced mindset can be propagated by others, interfering with the free will and manipulating the state of mind by placing a new concept in its place: lack, fear, and powerlessness. I would like to share in advance that what we create is never ours to keep. This can be difficult to accept or even understand. The reason I am stating this is simple. Along the way, the world has placed all energy into ownership of something. The fact is that the substance it requires is only on loan to us. It was never meant to be ours. The ingredients required to create anything belong to this planet. The ingredients were provided for experimentation so we could learn through our ability to create a thought that would become tangible once the mind was aware of the invisible force of energy. This energy was responsible for infusing together the elements that were required to bring forth our desires and thoughts into that tangible item that could be seen and held. This was to be the alchemy of two worlds existing as one whole, one that could be seen and the other assisting in an invisible state of energy. When the unseen other world was cut off from our existence, Earth became only half of what it was intended to be, and all who resided here became enslaved due to the misuse of this power to control the mind and soul. Each of our lives is brief, and what we achieve or create in material form during our times here on Earth and while in this consciousness are meant to get us closer to the source truth that will completely free our minds in ways we have never dared to imagine. We have earned the right to have and harness the superior knowledge we expanded upon while in the powerful state of consciousness and take the earned knowledge with us to the other side when the physical vessel expires. Our vessel, made of all elements of matter and carbon, will also reside in this reality, as it, too, is only on temporary loan to us while we have our stay until the next time or the privilege to exist in the next dimension of reality. Many fall short of learning this and only find out the truth when their time arrives to ascend to the buffer and then into the higher realm for a brief visit. Once there, it is very upsetting to learn what could have been achieved in this consciousness of life, what resides within us, which is the blueprint of the love and knowledge of the ability to create all we could have ever imagined. Now that we have opened our minds to these new and exciting possibilities, I will explain how our minds work and how we are responsible for all things, good or bad, that we experience. The mind has the capability to create whatever it is thinking about through a process of subconscious manifestation. The mind and alchemy work together through quantum physics to produce the action to bring forth the intentions we send out through our own magnetic vibrations. When a human has conceived the idea to desire a material object, the action of the mind and its thought of intention steps in. The thought continues to the heart, creating the desire that becomes the vibration. Then energy is sent out to the cosmos of our universe. The universe has an invisible force that reacts to the command of thought from the human minds, and depending on what is being desired, it knows exactly the correct amount of elements, atoms, molecules, and cells, to infuse with the energy of thought, which will immediately go to work pulling all things, including people, to make sure it comes into this reality in the form of a tangible item or action in a reasonable amount of time. This action of the mind works to produce material things and has the force to involve others to assist in getting it done. The physical part can be an action. I recommend only imprinting wholesome thoughts to achieve a result that is in the form of an action. We also use this energy to create a physical action, such as delivering a speech that has been well written. All humans are capable of mastering this knowledge that is commanded by the mind that utilizes the elements and property of energy around us to create intelligence in all humans that exist in life forms in the current consciousness of life. For instance, within the system of government, if you are being wrongfully sued and you are innocent, you need not look to the court system to work for you because it will never happen. Instead, see the outcome with clarity, and release it. Don't second-guess what the outcome will be based on what you have been trained to think of man's law bringing truth and justice. That, my friend, is an illusion of the man-created reality we have existed in, and that will result in feeding doubt and fear, which is what the man-created reality is based on. To allow one group to do all the thinking is a dangerous reality of existence. The ability of a mind that can see clearly will render the victory. To know this requires an open mind and the ability to think, sending out energy that will return like a boomerang, but in a tangible item or action. The gift that has been ours the whole time is that we have always had the capability to co-create whatever we desire, but it was never intended to be used to consume our minds or to ever place material things above another human. To have the capability to create by using this knowledge is amazing. To understand the science of how all things come together and start existing as free agents is so fascinating to me. You have no idea how it feels to be able to share what I know to be true in my heart, knowing how many spiritual lives it will free from the past and current enslaved reality. I am sure by now you are wondering just how I learned all I have and where my source came from. Chapter 13 The source of our knowledge, our level of intelligence and how we learn affect the entire universe and the planets both in and out of our solar system that are a network that communicates with the higher realm. We must be evolving at all times to infuse knowledge into our minds from our souls, and it must be a continual pattern of thought if we are to evolve in a more harmoniously balanced manner. If we are not enlightened and open-minded in our thinking, we are reality. We have the ability to connect to all dimensions of all realities of the universe. To only use our mind to function under the current standards is to exist for the purpose of a group that has designed a system that appears to be legitimate. This is far from what is real. The knowledge that is waiting to be summoned is closely connected to the higher realm of all realities. In numerology, the number 5 means constant change in this universe. Geometry comes not from man but from the universe and the laws that govern it, and it was created and used way before our planet came to be. We are the brilliant ones, but we are finishing last. What is the higher realm of reality, and how does it connect to us here in this reality? What I now know, I had to figure out on my own, and that is exactly what I have done, with the assistance of the higher realm. The fact is there are numerous truths that have been deliberately kept from us for a very long time. This is so the ones who benefit from our ignorance can dictate, control, and limit our ability to use our minds freely, as they still do, without persecution for exercising the right to go, create and achieve a state of consciousness in the highest realms of existence. What and where is the highest realm? You would never believe where it has been the entire time of our existence. It has always been in our minds. Oh, there are numerous worlds that exist in the cosmos but have not been known due to the created dense reality here on this planet. The truth is that during the course of my current life, from the age of 7 through well into my 40s, I knew there was a missing element in this reality because I felt it within myself. I also felt I did not belong here, that some part of me was longing to return. But return where? These feelings would bring about the beginning of my quest for answers and seeking, though I did not realize it at the time. At the age of 7, I sat alone in my front yard and had the sensation that I had been there before. I wondered how that could be. I also had experiences throughout my life that I did not comprehend as I do now. When I was 16, while sitting at a red light, a sensation of excitement entered into my soul, and I turned to my sister and said, I am going to do something really important someday. I had no idea what I would be doing. I made many choices as a result of the imprinting of the environment around me and the limited knowledge I had until I discovered the most brilliant knowledge from our universe and the wisdom of Christ. By the time I was in my 30s, I had unknowingly drawn to myself what I mostly thought about, which was security for me and my children. I married a somewhat wealthy man who gave me what I thought the most of, which was a life of security. I eased into this reality, and it was all good. I myself thought this was what I was missing in my life, and now that I had it, I felt sustained and happy but only temporarily. My life of security soon lost its luster and excitement, and I was on a downward spiral into thoughts of regret and failure. One day I remembered that experience from when I was 16, the important thing I was going to do someday. I realized where I was and what I had achieved through my looks and charm. I discovered where I was at that moment and knew it was not at all what I felt when I was 16. I could not believe what I was doing was the big thing. I asked myself, is this it? I realized my then husband Troy's wealth was his achievement and reality, not mine. At that moment, I knew I had still yet to experience what I was to do that would be so important to the world. I did not give it much thought, but I gave it enough energy to bring about a situation that would become the demise of my fake reality. I was caught up in one dinner party after the other, ballets, dinner theater, and just generally enjoying my reality. This all would come to a halt when a dark-spirited woman moved in next door. Within months my illusion of reality would come to a crashing halt through a series of unfortunate events involving this neighbor, which would give me a window of opportunity to reconnect with all those senses of doing something so important. The events that unfolded played a very important role in my own path to enlightenment. Earlier I explained how once a thought or idea is conceived, the invisible realm immediately goes to work to deliver whatever is being thought of at that moment. What happened next was the most difficult experience and would completely shake and rock my world. The family that purchased the house next door would turn out to be my saving grace on my quest for knowledge and understanding into the higher realm. I became pretty close friends with this neighbor, who turned out to be a very dark individual. She had a secret, and by accident I learned of it. I was never a gossiper, and what I learned has, until now, never left my lips. She was cheating on her husband, and my experience tells me that, to her, I was a threat to her dirty little secret, though I never told a soul, not even my then husband. Because she felt threatened by my knowing about her extramarital affair, she began to spread untrue, hurtful rumors about me and my children. I didn't know then what I know now, or I would have been able to stop what escalated into situations with dire consequences. Though I tried my best to ignore this woman and her slanderous character attacks on me and my family, it seemed she was out to do harm. When she realized I was closing myself off to my neighbors and friends within our subdivision, leaving her no way to communicate with me indirectly through them, she did the unthinkable. This neighbor went to the courthouse and filed a false affidavit, alleging I attempted to kill her by trying to run her over with my Ford Expedition. When I was served papers stating an order of protection had been filed against me, I was shocked. 4 months leading up to a year, I was battling for my life and reputation at our district court, and then, finally, the appellate court, trying to plead my innocence. To have the reality of truth is to balance the scales of equality for all. I lost hearing after hearing. It had basically driven me over the edge, and I did the unthinkable. I was under such stress that I enlisted the care of psychiatric counsel as a result of my state of mind due to my psychotic neighbor. I took 1.5 bottles of sleeping pills and antidepressants. I realize how easy it is to judge and think, I would never do that, no matter what. Trust me, I always thought of myself as a strong person, until my mind was being manipulated not only by another human but by a corrupt court system as well. I called my doctor and told her what I had done. She kept me on the line while she called 911. The Lake Sammamish Fire and Rescue arrived at my residence in Issaquah, Washington. I was able to let them into my home, as the pills had not yet penetrated my bloodstream. I remember one of those firefighters scolding me for my actions after seeing my children's Christmas pictures on the fireplace mantel. My last memory of being alive, before exiting this dense reality, was the firefighter saying, "Code, I had flatlined." I have no memory of what happened after that. Today I can reflect on this event, attempting to take my own life, and ask myself, was this all that bad? My answer is no, absolutely not. If it weren't for that psycho neighbor, I would not be able to share with you who I am and the knowledge I gained while I was briefly in the higher realm. From my early experiences, I relearned who I was then and now. And what is extremely important for you to know and learn is that your free will. Remember the freedom that has been within your grasp the entire time, to use your own mind to reach the highest realm of all realities, has been with you and will always be with you. What I experienced in the higher realm would not surface until several years after the incident occurred. I began the path of enlightenment to finding myself, and as time progressed, I found myself. One by one I removed the layers of a reality designed and created by man to prevent us from escaping the reality created by this great travesty of an illusion. I was introduced to who I was and all I had buried deep within my soul. The 3 days of being in a coma, while my vessel was kept alive on life support machines, was when my spirit traveled and my experience of Christ transpired. All I experienced when I ascended to the higher realm was amazing. I realize most tell of bliss, and there is absolute pure love and humor in that higher realm of reality. There is no confusion, only harmony. I discovered who I was then and what my purpose was. I was not feeling that bliss internally. In fact, I was very angry when I ascended. It was not because I had taken my own life or that I missed this reality designed by man. Quite the opposite occurred for me. Instead, I was able to see what is going on right here on Earth in this man-created reality of pure doom. I could see everything clearly and how what we have here in terms of how we live is not real in any way, shape, or form. My ability to see how simple it is not to exist in this type of reality blew my mind. We never question it because we are too busy worrying about surviving and keeping the things we have been taught we must have to achieve the higher level of reality. We are set up to fail by our own ignorance, so we will have to return to repeat what we failed to learn while here on Earth in this reality of free will. Though the free will has yet to be used and defended, to create and connect this reality to the higher realm, we must start to think for ourselves and must no longer be pre-programmed by the same species of humans. We must master this superior knowledge in this consciousness and not wait until we ascend, only to get there and be told the very same thing I am saying right now, that you and I have had the power all along to change the paradigm from doom to peace, hatred to love. You can do this by realizing you don't have to live your life by a price tag and that the resources are abundant within us to make this world a better place. This physical vessel that the spirit resides in has been loaned to us on a temporary basis so we can learn our true purpose through a natural and continual cycle of change. To base our choices on material things is ignorance. No material creation acknowledges you or loves you, yet we place these objects above humans. Having or achieving the finer things in this world should not keep you in a constant feeling of lack but show us how powerful we are and have been since we could think and create. As mentioned earlier, love is energy and is invisible. We demonstrate love through material things. Sadly, without knowing, we transfer our energy of love to the material item and not the soul of the human it was intended for. Instead of loving us back, the material item steals all the energy of love. I have mastered what I was supposed to in this life and in the current state of consciousness. This is the time and place when all things connected to this knowledge matter. To achieve the knowledge in this reality makes us brilliant in the reality of the higher realm. We have beaten the ones who designed and created the environment of the reality to program fear to absorb our energy for the purpose of darkness. I owe an abundance of gratitude to that neighbor who so brilliantly came into my life and turned my reality upside down. If it weren't for her, we might have missed the opportunity to achieve and take back our knowledge that was once ours so long ago and still remains for us. Moving on, the most recent time I was before Christ, he sat in a huge, gray stone chair with two men standing on either side of him. One was tall, and the other was of medium height. I remember Christ and his dark wooden staff leaning on the left side of his chair as I faced him. I shared with Christ, I am not going back there, meaning to this reality. What I saw was the mind's enslavement and the suffering that is all men created. Even though I had 5 children, that was not enough to make me agree to come back. Once I was in the higher realm of the correct reality, I could see clearly what it was like outside of man's designed reality that is very dense, and for me to even want to return to this reality of enslavement that goes unnoticed while one is in it would not change a thing. However, I fulfilled my promise to honor my purpose and learn. It was worth coming back if it was possible to beat this reality game, and I have done just that. At the same time, I was shown how easy it is to shift the reality from what it is now to what it could be, which is to exist in a free state of mind and of being. To achieve freedom from this system is to think and take control by using the power of the free will, but only once everything is understood. The reality of worry, of debt, finance, or any concept that places constraints or burdens on the soul is man-created, and it must be seen and understood that it is not real and never will be. That is what an example of the